What it do? What it do, everybody? How's everybody out there doing tonight? Welcome to another edition of Real Talk for Real Men. This is our Wednesday edition. So we're going to get into some serious things tonight. So welcome. If this is your first time, feel free to pop in, say hello, join. You, can, of course, can find me on YouTube and Facebook. Subscribe to us. I'm under the TFG TV banner. We have a network and platform of shows that you cannot miss. You know, exciting content. We're doing it like nobody else can do it. YouTube, Facebook, TFG TV, Real Talk for Real Men, every Wednesday, every Sunday. Wednesdays at 8 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. Sundays at 6 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. Well, we're going to get this thing popping tonight because we got a hot topic for you tonight. In case you don't know, on Wednesdays, we sometimes like to get a little serious, you know, and in addition to entertaining you, we try to educate a little bit and we try to broaden your minds with some subjects that nobody else is talking about. So let me bring on my co-host before we get things popping. We're all the way from Memphis, Tennessee. This is Miss Tasha herself. What's going on, McMack?
What's going on, Black? How are you?
I am doing good. Fantastic. Month's almost ending. I'm above ground and I got paid. So things are good.
Look at that. So it sounds like it's a good week. So
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. And I'll be going on vacation on Friday. So I'm looking forward to a nice topic. As always, thank you, Big Mac. I love you. Thank you for being here. Let's bring on my brother from another mother from Houston, Texas, Mr. Kenny. What's going on?
Actually, Fort Worth, but you all right. You're in the right state.
I'm sorry.
What's going on, guys?
What's up? How you doing, my brother? Good to have you. As always. As always. Bless you with our presence. Yes, indeed. And then we missed him last week. Him and we missed his presence. But in case you don't know, this is my brother here in North Carolina, and he's getting ready to be tied down in the married man soon. But I got Mr. Burt all the way from North Carolina. What's going on, brother?
It's good, family. How y'all doing?
Well, Bert, how you doing, brother?
Good to see you.
Doing good, bro. How you?
Yes, indeed. Good to see you. I saved my next guest for last for a reason. As part of the TFG TV platform, myself and Brother Kenny, we are on the Brenton Haynes show, TFG Tonight. And if you haven't gotten on that train yet, you are truly missing a fantastic ride. I got Mr. Brenton Haynes himself here tonight. This is Mr. Brenton Haynes, y'all. What's
up,
on,
everybody?
That's what I'm talking about.
Man, Bert, what's up, man?
I'm doing good. How are you?
Can I call you McMac? Or is that just for the...
Oh, go. No, it's fine. It's not a problem at all.
Okay. Like, I know this. I'm sorry, Lee. Say my shit.
No, I love it. I love it. In case anybody was ever wondering, one thing I've told you guys about Tasha from the time I've ever introduced her to the world is that Tasha's like a god. This is my best friend on this earth. And so back in the day when we used to go to clubs and do our thing, I was hunting ass and she was hunting dudes.
She a head, huh?
That's McMac right there. We was king of clowns back in the day. That's my dog.
Oh,
that's
Lord.
my dog.
So what's behind McMac? What's that mean?
That's another. That's you. If you tell it, I mean, you'll tell it.
No, it's just another story, just for another time.
No. All right. I just want to know if you got some secret sauce.
We got to do it. Right. We got to do a story time on one Sunday, brother Black.
He got
story time.
So if you wanted the brothers,
real.
that means you got some locker room talk, didn't you?
Man, no, that was a long time ago. Probably not anymore, but I do have some stories. So
you got some stories.
All right,
and they all true. Just so you know.
Listen, anybody hang out with Lee Black, I know there's some stuff going down. Honey.
Yes, indeed. We're gonna jump this off though, and I'm hoping to get Our other partner from TFG tonight, I hope she shows up, Miss Devin Divine. Hope she shows up. And not only is she a fantastic commentator, moderator, content, just a beautiful person. And I would like to have another female voice in this conversation tonight, because guess what we're going to be talking about tonight, guys? I see I got Miss Jennifer Hawkins from Tennessee.
Jennifer.
Jenny, the link is right there. Come on camera, baby. Come on camera tonight. Come on camera tonight. I would love to have your content tonight. Come on, Jenny. And then this is Mr. TFG himself. What's up, fam? This is Mr. Barry Gordy, Mr. Lamar Falk. We all fall under his umbrella.
Russell.
What up? What up, Lamar?
I go a voice. What's up, Hannah?
Hi, Hannah.
Yes, indeed. And there's Miss Hannah joining us tonight. But I want you guys to look at the bottom of that ticker, because I asked the question, and I'll tell you what this was born of. And we're going to take our time and get into this tonight. So if this is your first time watching the show, I invite you to come on camera. The link is out there if you want to. And I definitely want your opinions, because this is going to be one to talk about. This brother Kennard. Kennard, you already know you got a standing invitation anytime.
What's up, Kennard?
And Jenny says she just may. So we're going to get this thing cranked up. The question tonight, fellas, a group I say, are Black women contributing to the emasculation of Black men? And let me set it up. Let me set this up. You know, a couple of weeks ago, Tashina Arnold, who plays Pam on Martin, she made a simple post on Twitter that garnered a lot of interest in Black Twitter, as they're called, pretty much lit her up when what I thought she asked was a simple, innocent question. Now, the question she asked, it likely came on the heels of the slap heard around the world. You know, we're not going to show any clips about that, but we all know the deal. We all know that, you know, the situation happened with Chris Rock and Will Smith. And so Tashina Arnold, she simply says, she says, honest question, what can we as Black women in America do to stop aiding in the emasculation of Black men in America? And I thought it was a relatively harmless question, but it led to a lot of dialogue, especially from women, that was lighting her up, basically, in a nutshell, telling her that they're not responsible for what happens to us Black men, that we need to stand on our own. I mean, the vitriol was real. It was something serious. I just got to tell you. And so on TFG tonight, on the Brendan Haynes show, we took it from another angle, you know. And so, you know, the question was asked there about, you know, whether or not Black women do contribute. So I'm gonna play a short really short clip, and then I want to get you guys' opinions just initially on this question, because I want to get your visceral opinion right from the start. What do you think about this? But then we're going to examine some different areas of this question, as we do here on Real Talk. So I'm gonna share my screen, because I want you guys to see a clip that I thought that was integral to this conversation, because I think all of us as African Americans, Tasha is the only zebra on the panel, but I mean that with love.
I'm part Indian now.
This is why I love her, because she has a different perspective in there too.
Indian in me,
you know. And there you go. So we got brother Haynes on here as well. So yes, I'm offending all demographics tonight.
It's uncut, baby.
Having said that, we've all experienced, you know, one way or another in our dating scene, and I love this situation we got here. Kenny, myself, Tasha, we're single. We got an engaged couple and we got a married man. And I'm hoping we get Sister Devin on here as well, and anybody else. But I want to play a clip, and then I want to ask this question again. Is that fair?
Yes, sir.
All right. So let me share my screen. Fair. And I told you guys, we're going to take our time tonight.
Do it, baby.
So let's see. Share the audio. Share. And I hope you guys can see. Can you guys see my screen?
Yes.
All right. So let's blow this up and let's play this. It's real short.
All the good things about myself, which is really hard. Have you ever tried to do that? To just sit down and write out 10 things that are really good about yourself? I wrote these things about myself, and I was like, I'm a bad sister. I have done some pretty incredible things. I'm not so bad. I deserve somebody because I'm great, you know? And that's not an arrogant thing. That's just like all these years I've accomplished all these things, but I never really even took a look at them. I never owned them or felt good about them. So all of a sudden I felt good about myself, and I think that's how I was able to attract someone. So if you are out there and you want to attract somebody, fall in love with yourself. And know your worth. You know, it really makes a difference. At 59, I moved to a new city, got a new car, a new man, a new life, and it is possible. I envisioned the type of man I wanted. I prayed for the type of man I wanted, and I got pretty much that. Is he perfect? Absolutely not. But you know, he has a lot of the qualities. He has a lot of the qualities that that I love, and we're having a really good time, and I'm enjoying life. So there is hope, women. Ladies.
All right.
I was finna say that wasn't Matthew. I didn't know she was not with.
No, that's not Matthew.
Oh yeah, they divorced. Oh, they big go. Yeah, they been divorced.
Right. So in case, well, maybe this is your first time knowing. Yeah, he's a noted actor himself. You know, been in the business a long time. They've been married for a few years. Of course, that's Tina Knowles. That's Beyonce's mom. Now, why did I play this clip? Because Black Twitter primarily consisted of a lot of young vitriol, but she stated her age in that little clip. She says she's a 59-year-old accomplished woman, and I don't think anybody would question that. And she had her husband sitting right next to her, and I already stated he's an accomplished actor. Now, anybody have any problem with what she said in light of this question? And I want to get your honest opinion. Are Black women contributing to the emasculation of Black men? Because I don't think any of us missed his reaction.
I'm gonna say this, and y'all know I didn't even know, but I'm gonna tell you this one thing. I know he's younger than her. I know
he's not.
What?
He's not.
I was gonna let you get it out.
Not.
Are you kidding me?
I am not kidding you. We're not kidding you.
Wow, that's interesting. Then he come from a different cloth, because
go there, because this is an older couple.
Yeah, listen, that ain't old school. That's he new school, old school, because old school don't respond like that. Like that ain't how 1945 men respond when a woman kind of like throw some shade on his masculinity. He like, oh, I ain't. That wasn't like homeboys have been cutting cameras. So this is going to be an interesting conversation, because I thought, listen, young cats, they normally get that shade from those older women, right? Because of the whole I'm older than you, don't step over me, and then they play that game. So that's a really interesting dynamic. So I'm gonna say this in light of that. Then my problem with alpha women is they don't want alpha men. They want beta men. And I think the best relationship for two alphas is for them both to be together, but then respect each other's spaces.
Okay.
That was an alpha woman married to a beta man. That's a beta man.
Okay. I love where you're going with this, and I'm glad that's why I played that clip. Anybody next? What did you think of that clip? And especially in light of the question, do you think Black women are contributing to the emasculation of Black men?
No, I want the link.
Okay. Kennard, what answer that question? And I'm going to send a link to Kennard. Answer that question, Sister Hannah.
I am sick of, I'm a Black woman, and I am sick of, as being a Black woman, every single thing is blamed on us. When Black men do things, they don't blame any, when Black women do things, they don't blame the men. We're still blamed. If we have an argument against each other, oh, y'all women can't get along, but men can talk to us any type of way. They don't blame the men. We are blamed for every single thing. Just like you can't tell me how to be a woman, I cannot tell you how to be a man. So I do not think that we are contributing to that. Yes, there are some stronger Black women, and some women are being stronger now because a lot of them weren't hurt before. So sometimes they kind of be more boisterous in other situations. So I can see that. Maybe that's why her reaction was like that. I mean, I don't think she was wrong by saying no, he's not perfect. I think it's a different way she could have worded it to make him still feel, you know, as the man. So I'm not. I don't think her saying that because we're none of us are perfect. I wouldn't even expect you to think I'm perfect. However, I'm just really sick and tired of being blamed for every single thing that goes on.
So can I ask you a question, Shahan?
Yes.
So I respect what you're saying, and I don't disagree. My question to you, like you said, she could have worded it better. What would you call that then? Because I would think you would consider that being blaming her.
I'm not blaming her though.
No. I'm saying I would agree with you that you said she shouldn't have said it like that. But had I said that she should have said it like that, would you have thought I blamed her?
No.
Oh,
I would
okay,
think
cool.
that's your opinion. No, me. I'm talking about me personally. If you said that, I wouldn't think that you said anything wrong. Because as a man, I don't think a man can say something. I think men should be able to say their opinion. It's just it's so as women. I think it's the way we word it. Like
Yep.
we all can have different opinions. It's just the tone. Like you can say, "Oh, I don't like that," versus "I don't like that." It's a difference of
Agreed.
how it's received, how you say it. I feel like maybe that wasn't a time, and he probably didn't react the way he did because they were on a film. It was live. They were filming, so
Right.
we don't know how he reacted outside of that. Me personally, though, if I felt like that, I wouldn't embarrass my spouse on national TV like that.
That's
Okay,
my
and we're gonna get into that. Just so you guys know, I just want to get your initial opinion. Welcome, Sister Devin,
what up,
in the
sis?
house. What's going on? This is
What
the
up?
other
What up,
founding
Devin?
member of TFT tonight, Miss Devin, also in Texas. Miss Devin, did you catch the clip?
I did not.
Did
Tell
not.
me.
Is there, guys? I told you we were gonna take our time. I'm gonna show it again.
Hey,
I'm gonna
that's
show
it.
the clip again. I think it's worthy of showing it again.
Okay.
So yeah, let's it's real short anyway.
Okay.
But I want you to see, because Devin, I want to get your opinion on this.
Okay.
Okay.
Oh, well, we did forget to say we do not own the rights to that video.
Okay.
So,
Thank
yeah.
you. That's why we pay her.
Yeah. Oh, she getting paid.
Shit. And liquor. No, I'm just kidding.
I know that's right.
Wow.
All right, let's try this again. Can you guys see my screen?
Yes,
Yes.
sir.
I wrote down all the good things about
Yeah.
myself, which is really hard. Have you ever tried to do that? To just sit down and write out 10 things that are really good
Man.
about yourself? I wrote these things about myself, and I was like, I'm a bad sister. I have done some pretty incredible things. I'm not so bad. I deserve somebody because I'm great, you know? And that's not an arrogant thing. That's just like all these years I've accomplished all these things, but I never really even took a look at them. I never owned them or felt good about them. So all of a sudden I felt good about myself, and I think that's how I was able to attract someone. So if you are out there and you want to attract somebody, fall in love with yourself. And know your worth. You know, it really makes a difference. At 59, I moved to a new city, got a new car, a new man, a new life, and it is possible. I envisioned the type of man I wanted. I prayed for the type of man I wanted, and I got pretty much that. Is he perfect? Absolutely not. But you know, he has a lot of the qualities. He has a lot of the qualities that I love, and we're having a really good time, and I'm enjoying life. So there is hope, women. Ladies.
All right. All right.
Can I say one thing real quick?
Sure.
Looking at that clip again, their body language is off. They look like it was something going on before the cameras came on. I think that's another reason why their response is like that.
And that's possible.
About body language.
We can dissect it to death. Fantastic. But clearly he had a reaction to it. And so, Miss Devin, while you kind of let that marinate, let me come to Kenny or Tasha. You guys haven't seen it. What do you think about the clip in light of the question, are Black women contributing to the emasculation of Black men?
Do you want me to go, Kenny?
Yeah, go ahead.
Go ahead, Tasha.
Okay. So I'll go. Specifically in this clip, I don't see an emasculation. I don't, in this clip. I do think in some instances, yes, And I will, explain that a little later on, because it's specifically like, when specific phrases are used or talked about to men in certain situations. But specifically to this situation, I didn't take it as anything like that, because I think maybe he kind of looked like that. I think he's reached that stage in his life to where he has nothing else left to prove. He is an accomplished actor, as as you said, and he's with Tina Knowles. So I know that he knows that there's things that come along with that. I don't buy into the whole notion of alpha males, alpha females either, because if you have to tell someone you're an alpha, you're not an alpha. So I don't think it's that. I think that he's just in that stage where, like just making a simple comment like, wow, really, you don't think I'm perfect? I think it was more like an offhand joke. I don't get emasculation from that. From her talking, I got more of narcissist, definitely, but more about her personal journey, her personal growth. I feel like that she had just reached that stage to where everybody kind of knows who you are, and she finally woke up to who she was, and is probably leaning more onto the other side of it, living out her golden years of being proud of what she's accomplished. So I don't get emasculation from that clip.
I love it. I thank you. Different of opinion. Kenny, what do you think, my brother?
To I guess dissect that particular clip to this particular question, I didn't see anything wrong with her response. Me personally, I don't think that was her emasculating her husband. I think she was just and we don't know what the question was asked prior to that clip. See, that's the beauty of television. You can clip and chop stuff up, and it can appear to be something that it really. So we don't even know what the question was, but we know she was just stating her accomplishments and how she prayed for a good husband. Now, his body language did look a little off. I mean, because when she said he wasn't perfect, which I'm saying that jokingly, but I wasn't in the room. Only the person that was interviewing him could tell. But I think he even said that I keep me jokingly as well. But I don't know there's the status of the relationship. So a lot of times it's easy for us to sit here and try to, diagnose someone's body language. Unless you're in the room with them, you really don't know. So my answer to that, I had no issue with that clip. I don't think it was an emasculating clip concerning the topic we're talking about tonight.
Okay. Thank you, my brother. Devin, bring us home.
All right. I definitely didn't see anything emasculating, and I also didn't see the front and the tail end of that. So my opinion could be totally different than what it is right now. But if he's looking kind of irritated and frustrated, regardless to how she's kind of talking herself up and making herself the prize, to me, if you want to be the man on the high pedestal in a relationship, you don't get an Oprah. And I'm not saying she's Oprah, but you don't get what Beyonce knows as mama and think you're going to be, you know what I'm saying, at the top of the hill in that relationship or even on equal footing. Because as far as money and things like that, she may be the superior in that relationship. So if you want someone to treat you like you are superior, you don't get what Beyonce knows as mama. You get with her mama's sister.
Wow. Interesting.
Yeah.
And we got Miss Jenny from the bigger block in Tennessee. This is my baby girl right here. What's up, Miss Jenny?
Hello, everybody.
Hey.
What's up, sweetheart? What do you think, having watched that clip, and it pertaining to this question?
Well, I thought that her statement was intimidating because I watched that clip.
Hold on. We didn't hear the first part. You say you thought it was or wasn't?
I thought that was a slight on him, but maybe I'm cut different because I have that kind of background where we kind of, here in Memphis, in the South, we kind of cater. So that's something that said it all on screen. We didn't have to talk about where he wasn't perfect and this, that, and the other. And one question, went from being about men, and then all of a sudden she made it about herself. So to me, it became a little, with the line of questioning and her response. But that's just
okay.
She's making a good point.
We're having a little mechanical issues with you, and I want you to fix that because I know you're gonna have a lot to say on this. I'm gonna round it out, in my own opinion. I didn't get to Bert. I want to leave you out, brother Bert. You got anything to add to this?
Yeah, after looking at it a second time, I don't think that she was being emasculating, but I will say this. A lot of times, regardless of your status, we get all that. But at the end of the day, sometimes what you do, especially when you're in a relationship, especially when you're married, a lot of times you'll throw out there that even though she's not perfect, I'm not perfect either. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I think that the slight came, and I think it's a reason why she said that. I think she's a little reserved because of what happened in her last marriage. So she's
Okay.
a little reserved to say that a man is perfect because of what she went through in the past. So you can kind of, it's almost like a dual-edged sword. You know what I'm saying? I understand where she was coming from,
Right.
but I think that she could have said, like, she could have changed, like you said, it could have been delivery. She could have just changed up a couple things and say, hey, listen, you know, he's a great guy, you know, and, you know, because she was like, when she said, I pretty much got that. That wasn't really a full cosign. She didn't say, I got that. I got a great man. She said, I
Okay.
pretty much got that.
Okay.
And
Okay.
then he went to not
Okay.
perfect and the whole nine.
Okay. So you really went into the semantics of the word and everything. So, and that's the beauty of watching the clip, and you guys enunciated so well that we don't know what happened before then. We don't know the question. I'm literally playing the clip, but I love the fact that I wanted you got to see this was coming from an older couple. If you saw at the very beginning, they've been married for 3 years. And so this is not the younger generation, you know, so I wanted you to see that. Candace says that she liked the authenticity of what you said. I do too. You know, having said that, and I'm going to give you my little quick opinion. On its surface, I'm like you, Tasha, and Brother Kenny. I didn't think on the surface what she said was wrong. You know, I think his reaction came when she said he's not perfect. Nobody's perfect. You know, so I didn't have a problem with the wording of it. But if I'm going to be honest now, especially judging by his reaction pertaining to the question, was it emasculating? Not on the surface, but you bring up a good point, Brother Bert, in terms of how it was said and how it was worded, because I want you guys to think about something as we go through the different areas where we're going to examine. Put the shoe on the other foot. If that interviewer was asking him something and he said something that showed his wife not in the proper light, and he got to go home with this bitch. You know what I'm saying? And so I don't give a damn who you are, Mrs. Knowles or whatever, but let them be on camera and he don't introduce her as his wife. For example, we all been in situations before, and especially us brothers now, where now we running our mouth, having a good old time, and we get home, and we in hot water because of how we didn't present them, how we might have carried ourselves. We let a woman hug us. What was she doing touching you? And so in this instance, it was emasculating. He wasn't prepared for it. And so maybe it was a wording of things like that. On its surface, I didn't have a problem with it. But you guys talked about body language, gesture, wording. This is where knowing each other really comes into place. I'm sorry, I'm just seeing you, Brother Kennard.
Hey, what's going on, man?
So for me, it was emasculating in the same sense that the slap heard around the world. One moment she was laughing and smiling until he turned and looked at his wife, and then all of a sudden, damn it, I got to spring into action. And so there's going to be a conversation behind that, you know, that clip, because of the way it happened. And so I'm going to examine a few areas where we're going to get deep into this. You know, Candace, I respect your opinion. You know, you don't think she emasculated him at all. I beg to differ.
It's very difficult to tell a man for a woman to. Yeah, you can't. It's kind of hard for you to say that with your perspective. And I'll say this, brother. I don't know if this is a dialogue. I'm sorry, out of turn.
No turn.
To even to Jennifer's point, everybody's hearing this from their own perspective. Absolutely. And their own demographic, their own experiences. So all of us have these headphones on, and everything that's passing through all our past history, all of our experiences, and then it's coming out in a way to where we see it. So at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter what we think. It's how their relationship is. Like you said, even with Will and Jada, you know what I'm saying? It doesn't matter what we think, because it's it's all bias. It's all based on our experiences, right? It's so everybody's gonna filter this through their own sifting experiences and past history.
Absolutely.
So this is gonna be a really interesting conversation.
And so I'm leading right to the heart of it. She's Tina Knowles. She had no problem telling you about her accomplishments, and I don't dispute that. But I think this is one area where emasculation happens quite a bit: the income gap, because we live in a different time now, where even though he's an accomplished actor, she is Tina Knowles. That's undeniable. That's unfucking deniable. This is uncut, so I can say fucking. So having said that, we have situations now where women are earning just as much, if not more, than men. I used to work in the property management industry, and I used to say this all the time. You know who rented properties from me? Apartments? It wasn't the men. In the rent properties, you had to have 3 times the income. You had to have a solid credit history. In many cases, that eliminated a lot of our brothers. And so women typically have better houses than we do, drive better cars than we do. They're working 2 and 3 jobs. I ain't working no damn 2 or 3 jobs. When I met her, she's working 3 jobs. Women make money. They make an income. What do you guys think about this part of it? Do you think Black women specifically, are using the income, the newfound income gap that they're privileged to have, where they grinding like we do? Right here in Atlanta, these nasty, filthy, no good bitches don't have a problem telling you about how much they make right here in Buckhead, and they hold it over your head. Do you think that's emasculating? Yes, I said it. Anybody? Come on.
I'll speak on that. Back in the day, my last marriage or whatever, I did feel like that income thing was a little emasculating. And so when my husband was short and I had it, before we went somewhere into a facility, wherever we were going, I would give him the money before we got out of the vehicle or out the house or whatever. So that way, whenever we got there, he could pay it so that he wouldn't have to feel some kind of way about that. So I do believe an income gap for a lot of grown, mature men is emasculating. But for these bum ass dudes that I was dating recently, they saw it as like a come up, and so that I can help them get where I was. And they feel like, you already got a house, you already got a car, you already got a whatever. So for the F boys, they don't care. But for the grown men who got their stuff together and they want to be in a certain role, he said I could cuss now, y'all. And so I could be in a certain role, in as far as they want to be in that role in the relationship, they care. So it just kind of depends on who you're with.
Very true.
But he knew that she was cocky and that she had her personality before they got there. She probably knew that they were there because it was her.
Very good point. Very good point. Come on, brother Brenton, and then Kennard. I see that look on your face. I'm coming to you next. Get ready. Come on, brother Brenton.
Okay, so this is what I want to say, you guys. I'm gonna throw this monkey wrench in here. What are we comparing this to? See, that's the problem. There's a comparison that has to happen in order for this thought process to take place, because we have to compare it to something else. We're comparing it to our white counterparts. That's what we're comparing it to, because they don't look like that. Let the truth be told, white women have been indoctrinated with submission. Why? Because the older white women told them that's what you're supposed to do to keep your man happy. Y'all go read the book John Wayne and Jesus. That's what they've been indoctrinating these women to do. Us, we've been trying to figure that out for 400 years. So to compare yourself to a white couple is like comparing apples to oranges. So if we compared ourselves to other black couples, then we wouldn't have such an issue with who has more money and who don't have more money, because y'all was watching General Hospital and Days of Our Lives and y'all saw this stuff. Then we begin to compare ourselves to things that are not even real. And so it's a pseudo reality that we've compared ourselves to, that now we have hamstrung ourselves because we thought that this is what the world looked like. No, they just been teaching them that for years. That's the problem.
I love your opinion. I'm coming to you, Kennard, and then Tasha. I believe you might have something to say on this. For the viewing audience, Tasha is mulatto. You know, her dad's black, her mom's white. They split, and they still married interracially. So we have the benefit of having her growing up in that household. So she would know. Well, I'm going to trust her judgment on knowing the white world certainly more than I would know. I've slept with a few white women, but I didn't know much about them. But anyway, so we're going to come to you next, Tasha. Come on,
I'm
Kennard.
not an expert on white culture, but okay, I'll try.
Yeah, I think this is a case of, want to thank everybody who's on the panel tonight. Glad to be back on this channel again. And I think it's a situation where you have to look at when you talk about emasculation, you have to allow yourself to be emasculated, for one. I think, when people talk about emasculation, it has to do with your self-worth. And I've been in situations where I thought that I was emasculated, but when I really dug deep into why I felt emasculated, it was because I felt like I had a shortcoming. It had nothing to do with the person that was emasculating me, or that I felt was emasculating me. When I was on my shit, and when I was on my purpose, and when I was doing what I was supposed to do, this ain't no damn conversation. Emasculation is not a conversation for the dude that has his shit together. You emasculate me, fuck you. I'll go somewhere else.
Okay.
I
love
it. And that's the thing. I think I think so many dudes that feel this way are not performing at the level that they want to perform, and then the woman that they're with is a mirror to remind them of their lack of performance.
Very interesting point. Very interesting point. And I got something to say on that, but Tasha, I told you I was coming to you next.
Yeah, so the income gap, yes, it has been weaponized, especially of this generation. Now, Britton, when you're saying comparing to white counterparts, I disagree with that.
Okay.
And I disagree with it for a reason, because what we're seeing now of this generation, it's definitely not about comparing to white. It's about comparing to those elite black power couples that we're seeing now. Now, I think it is easy to believe that it is, subconsciously some comparison to the white culture. However, these conversations take place in the white culture, just not on the scale of how much we emphasize it on black podcasts, on black social media, and how much the topic has been renewed. We know when we're talking in the sense of this question, and especially this topic, we're not talking about in absolutes. We know that there are exceptions to the rule. But if it was that many exceptions, then it would be the rule. But go ahead.
Well, my thing to you, Tasha, is that's what we grew up watching. White people, that's every influence we've taken from culture came from some type of television show. Yeah, now black people are taking more, or even the trashy people on MTV. But we've always strived to be like something we saw on some type of television show. That's how they sell products, by influencing us through commercials. So we were being sold this white relationship where the white man always made more to the domestic wife. And that's a comparison. That's why
while I agree with you on that point too, but I got a question I want to throw out there pertaining to this. How much does that play a part in today's society? Hold on, because I want, that's where I want to go with it, because I like the word that you use, Tasha, where you say it's become weaponized. Because when I look at today's generation, I really don't think that they are looking at white couples and what they've had, because I think even in our own culture, we have prioritized how much you make in such a way that, especially in the proliferation of female rappers and singers and their come up, it's become a weapon to be able to say that if you ain't on this level, you can't fuck with me. And so what I see, especially as a single man out here in these streets, that happens to me all the time, where I get prejudged because on its surface, I don't look like I can hang with them on an income gap. I drive out of this building every single day. I live in Buckhead. the premier area of Atlanta. I live in a fucking high-rise luxury apartment building, paying an absorbent amount of rent for this shithole. I'm living in a fucking prison, basically. But all in my garage, all they have is luxury cars. And this is how I dress every day because I work from home. So when I go to get my lotto tickets like today, them nasty bitches sitting next to the little eatery outside, they take one look at me and figure I don't measure up, not knowing I could buy and sell you stinking nasty hoes. And that is what they've done in terms of weaponizing the income, because they're using it as if you can't fuck with me because I make so much money, and me knowing, bitch, you done saved up all week just to send your funky ass out there and perpetrate. So it has become weaponized, in my opinion. I'm sorry. Jenny, anybody, I don't want to monopolize the conversation. Anybody got anything to say about the income gap? Go ahead, Miss Devin.
I think the income gap thing, like you said, it's new, because with me growing up around Black aunties and friends and things of that nature, the income gap did not make a difference. And I hate to use her as an example, but even if I use my mother, where she worked really hard, as a freaking certified nursing assistant, and she would work multiple shifts, and my daddy wasn't worth shit, but she would give him whatever he needed. He had everything he needed, including riding around in the car, and she was one of the most submissive women I've ever seen in my life. And maybe that's why I am what I am now, and I get deemed as masculine and all that old crap, which I don't think anything about me is masculine, just because I'm confident in who I am and in my stance. But the income thing must be new, because the way I grew up and in my environment, it didn't matter what you made as a woman. You still had to know how to shut your mouth, know what to put up with and what not to put up with. You had to know how to take responsibility for his actions. If he's cheating on you, why? If he's hitting you, why? Was it wrong and maybe the wrong environment? And I'm probably giving y'all my tea. Maybe I need counseling. But anyway, the income thing that's new to me, because the way I grew up in Black culture, the woman making more than the man didn't matter, and no one really knew it.
Because I love everything you said. My mama, Eloise Jean, cleaned houses for a living, but you know what she didn't do? And I think about the sitcom Good Time. She never took away the dignity of a man. She never took a man's dignity away. And so when I see a question about whether or not Tina needs to humble herself to protect his ego, it wasn't Candace that she talked about his income and that she should be ashamed of anything that she did. He married her because he's proud of her accomplishments. He didn't want no bum bitch, but it's the way she sold it.
Can we use the word consideration? I think that's necessary.
So speak on that.
Consideration is the problem, right? Because that's what the relationship is supposed to be about. Each person considering the other person's whatever. You know what I'm saying? If you don't, the best thing a woman can do is understand her man. The best thing a man can do is understand his woman.
I love it.
That's it. So when you know your man or you know your woman, guess what? Wherever you are, public, private, or whatever, you always walk with consideration.
I love
your spouse or your
This is
mate.
why I got Brother Britton on here. He's coming from that mature godly place. I'm a practicing sinner, so I'm saying it my way, but I appreciate that. but I definitely appreciate it.
I ain't no square man.
I didn't mean it like that. That's why I love that mature godly opinion on this matter, And so here's another one that I think plays a significant role, because we hear it all the time. Let's talk about the education gap. Now, first of all, let me state, unequivocally, Black women are the most educated women on the face of this planet. They're the ones getting their master's degrees at the higher rate than any other ethnic group. And Lord knows, I work in education, me and Tasha. We can sit here and tell you the people who will get their degrees, they're Black women. They're women in general, but Black women specifically. The bros, us, we're not necessarily going back to get our school on and get those degrees. Now, by no stretch of the imagination, am I saying that a degree is the be all to end all? Because a degree, I'm saying this as an educated man. A degree is a piece of paper. That's what it really is. But now that don't mean that nobody's dumb enough like that. But I do see where education is certainly playing a role in this new age emasculation of men part. Do you see that same thing, or am I the only one seeing it this way?
No, I would agree with that. I think there's a lot of women, and again, black women are getting their master's degree at a different age than black men, bachelors, all that, and that's all well and good. I think the only thing sometimes black men feel emasculated is that that woman is all she's about is her education and her degrees, and let you know she got them. I think most of us are supportive of black women, but it gets to a point where all you can talk about is how many degrees you got, and all that. I think at that point it's like, okay, I get that, I know you smart, and that's cool, but flip side, man, that can be a turn off too. So now again, every man is different. Some men is cool, and that's emasculation thing go either way, because it depends on what a man, if he's confident in too. I mean, you gotta come. This is our own accountability. That's I ain't getting ready to say throw it all on the women. Sometimes we got to be held accountable for our own insecurities too. Maybe that's why we feel emasculated.
Very good point. Very good point. Anybody else want to say something on this part? I'll go.
Yeah. Oh yeah, man. I'm gonna always have something to say.
I didn't want to interrupt anybody, so I try to kind of wait a little bit. But
No, come on.
But I don't see education as a way of emasculating anyone. I think it's the income that comes from that education that may be a little bit that I could see that being threatening. But as far as the education itself, I've never known that to be a problem, because I know some women, a lot of black women, who just get degrees just because they're just kind of in love with being educated. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of them are paperweights. I hate to say that, I'm being honest. They ain't do nothing with it. I mean, you sitting there with all these degrees, but you don't really want to do anything with it. You're just getting, your education. So I've never known that to be, or felt like that was a threat. Although I'm not a man, I can't speak on that, but I don't believe that's ever been an issue.
Okay.
Again, I'm gonna use another word: confidence. I live with a he died at 97, but I grew up with my grandfather. That's where I spent majority of my time. He cut yards, but you couldn't tell him one thing concerning who he was as a man, because he was confident about what he knew how to do. He stayed in his lane. And the problem, again, even to Candace's point, I agree with you about what people try to label us as. But again, it's about what are we comparing ourselves to? My grandfather didn't compare himself to the white person that owned the shop. He just did. He put his head down and he grinded. It doesn't matter if somebody has more money than I do, has more success than I have, but success is relative, in my opinion, because you can have a lot of money and your house is trash.
Very true.
Listen, the women that I'm not gonna say the women. I'm saying there is somebody out there who makes a lot of money, but she go home to a very empty house.
You went right where I'm going with it, and I'm not biting my tongue. There's a lot of lonely bitches out here that's curling up with books between her legs instead of some stick, and it's because she has weaponized education. And yes, I said it. And I've had people on my show on many occasions that attempt to weaponize education. Now, to your point, Brother Kenny, and Brother Kennard, he talked about confidence. Of course, we have to have a level of accountability. If you're a dumbass man and you ain't about shit and you ain't trying to accomplish shit, you ought to feel less than. But I didn't go back to school to get my education until I was 40 years old, and I was still the smartest motherfucker in the room. So I know who I am. Always knew who I was. The education piece, that was for me to get something else. I needed that piece of paper to crash through that proverbial glass ceiling. Make no mistake about it. And even sitting here right now with an MBA, I don't tout that. Call me whatever you want to. That's not my title at work. Pay me, motherfuckers. So education ain't jack shit. You know what I'm saying? Pay me. But in terms of this conversation, there are way too many black women out here that do want to weaponize education. And while I'm proud of you and I respect you and you put all that effort into it, it doesn't emasculate me personally because I know who I am. But my thing is, the end result is there's many of you bitches laying up right now with a dog between your legs or that new rose that you ordered on Amazon. God bless you.
Jenny, were you gonna go? Because I wanted to say something.
Come
I,
on,
I
come on,
was,
Tasha.
and I have a different spin on it.
No,
I
go
think
ahead.
I think also, can y'all hear me okay?
Yes,
Mhm.
ma'am.
Okay, I think also, as far as women and income and education are concerned, there's also another facet to that, that women, especially when I only know black women really, black women with other black women, and this idea of what we should be doing as black women. Like, for instance, I have a bachelor's degree. My husband is just has a high school education, but he's the breadwinner. I'm one of those people who I haven't really done anything with my degree, but it was something I wanted to do so that my children would go further. I had my own reasons and purpose with it. I work as a substitute teacher. Never, ever, ever have I been expected to be the breadwinner or, he takes care of everything in the house. With his high school education, he works day and night if he needs to, never wanted for anything. All of my needs are kept. But I do have some friends who are older, more accomplished women, as they would put it forward, with 2 or 3 degrees and the masters, and they're making $120,000 a year and such. And they have no man and they're fucking miserable. They have nothing. They don't even have a dog. So there's another step to it, if we dig deeper as far as how we even as women treat each other and what we, I don't know if I really subscribe to what we've been shown on TV, because I didn't watch a lot of TV growing up. I watched stuff like Three Stooges and Car 54, all that kind of, black and white stuff. And I'm only 44. But my point being that we as women also put off on other women what we believe ideally what being successful and being happy appears to be. And again, it's all relative as to where do you place your importance. So it's not so much about the education, I feel, or even those things or the money that's being made. It's how can you put a emphasis on your life that feels like it matters at the end of the day? Because some of the loneliest bitches I know making all the money, working all the jobs, and they ain't got shit to do, and they hanging out with some hoes on the weekend because they ain't got no man, and they ain't got something to say. And I mean, there's nothing wrong with that, going out and getting 4 or 5 degrees and going out and, you can have the total package, but don't put down somebody else simply because that's not the path I chose, So that's pretty much,
Good point.
And my husband, I will say this, doesn't give a damn about my degree. Never, still, even after I got it, said, well, baby, now it's time you get your ass up there and do this. Whatever job I have or don't have, or I've left, or whatever the case, it's never been a problem. But that's me in my house, So that's my only little 2 cents.
No, thanks for sharing that part, Tasha.
No, what I'm gonna add to it. I don't think it's anything else that hasn't been said, but the education thing, the education gap, absolutely. Every day you're witnessing conversations, or you're seeing things being posted online to where it is being beat over someone's head that because they have a certain education, because they went to a certain college, because they have certain letters behind their name, that it does make them feel more superior. And whatever you want to do to make yourself feel like that you're in a different class, to elevate yourself, that's that's individual, that's on you. But in regards to this being used as the emasculation, you can have your education without touting it, without it, as Black says, without it, just falling out of your mouth every time you talk. You can have it and no one really knows it. But when you say certain things, when women say certain things to men along the lines of, well, you ain't shit because you don't have a degree, that is emasculating. We can pretend like it's not. And specifically, when we are going to be comparing, I am looking at this generation. I'm looking at specifically the last 25 to 30 years, because that's the generation that you're seeing. I'll even open it up a little bit more. From 21 to, I would say, 35, that's the generation that you're seeing. It has made a change. It is emasculating, and it is affecting, unfortunately, how some of these young men are growing up.
I see it. I see it in my field. And so as we move on to the next one, which is going to be a big one, and I'm going to ask you to tell a story on this one, Miss Devin, that you shared with us at the ending of the TFG Tonight show, because it was so poignant and powerful. But Candace, she said maybe every woman's goal is not to get a man. That's definitely true. You know, and I don't think that, you know, we believe that every woman, there's a lot of bitches out there that's happy by themselves, and that's okay.
Woman.
And that's okay too.
Know,
and I purposely use the word bitches because some of them are bitches. You know? now we're gonna Jennifer used it as a woman. So if we're gonna pretend that some women aren't bitches,
I use bitches, I use hoes.
So and that's why some bitches and hoes are winning out here. So, you know, on this platform, you know, we're not gonna pretend that some of you aren't bitches. Some of you are bitches. Some of you are classy bitches, but you're still a bitch.
Some men are bitches. Some men are hoes. Pussy buying ass hoes.
Very true. Very true.
All fits.
Where is this going?
So no, I just
wow.
wanted. I try to handle. No.
I'm just messing.
The new bitches is men, just so you know.
That's what I think.
That is the new bitches is
gonna
men.
take it somewhere,
we'll
Doc.
get you that in a second too.
Okay, all right. I'm waiting on that one.
But this part about the emasculation of men, it raises the question: is the men that are not masculine, is it taught? You know, is this learned behavior?
Everything.
So that's what you say, or is this something that's inherent? And so I've always talked about the mother-son relationship. I've dated a lot of bitches that had sons, and their impact on these sons was very significant. I'm being joking now about bitches. I've dated some women that had some sons, but Sister Devin told us something at the end of the show about, you know, her relationship and why she did some of the things in raising her son. I hope I'm not really putting you. Would you mind sharing that with the audience, please? Because it was beautiful.
I apologize. I can't remember everything I said because I was in a moment. But if I can kind of go back to kind of the relationship with my son and I, he did not have a man in his life. His man and you know what's even sadder is I was actually married and he still had no man in his life. So, and then when I divorced, there was even less of a man in his life. So in order to compensate, I did more for him. I coddled him. I made it easy for him to be disrespectful to someone like me. But he was still a decent boy until he got into society, till he got to an age where he wanted to be out more and around other boys and around other men. And then they taught him to be a straight asshole. So I always felt like I failed him, you know, as a mother, because I felt like I should have done better. I should have taught him better. But then at some point, I realized that's straight bullshit, because the person that should be blamed is the father that chose to not be in his life. Because I realized as a woman, I can try to instill values in him and morals and ethics and all those things, which is what I did, because I didn't raising him. I didn't drink until a few years ago. He went to church. I tried to do everything the right way, but I understand that I cannot raise a man, and it's the punk ass men that should have been in his life that should be responsible for the way he turned out and his outcomes and him trying to figure it out on his own. Now, don't get me wrong. You can be a man in your child's life and then steal everything in him and be the most masculine, quote unquote, man in the world. But the fact of the matter is, once that child gets out into the world and gets engaged with social media, they're going to form their own opinions, because I would hear other mothers do such and such. He started hanging around little badass white boys who could talk to their mom a certain way, and I don't operate like that. You know what I'm saying? I remember he probably 6 feet tall, a lot bigger than me. I remember trying to fist fight his ass because you're not going to play with me. My mama didn't play that. She raised 3 boys and would have fist fought all of them at 5'5" and them 6'2". So he had to get the hell out of my house if he was going to act like that. So he did early. So he went the wrong way. You know what I'm saying? And I blamed myself, and I felt like I failed myself until I had to look within and realize it wasn't me. It was the man that was absent in his life.
I love it. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Because you shared so much a wealth of information in there, because we get the question all the time. Can a woman raise a boy to be a man? You know, what's the effect of absentee fathers in this scenario? And then the dynamic between a son and the mother, you know, does she overcompensate to go overboard? You know, and then in this new age, that group that Tasha's talking about, if that boy is being raised in a household with predominantly women and aunties and nanas and whatnot, where does he learn masculine traits from? Come on, Brother Brenton.
So I've been doing a clinical study for over 40 years, right? I'm being facetious, but but I didn't grow up with a father, but my son is. And my son is a younger version of who I was. And I can always see, if I wasn't here, why I did some of the things I did, because mine wasn't there. And so because my son is me, because I am here and mine wasn't, now I can see why I was considered certain things as a younger person, right? Why I did have to fight because they thought I was feminine just because I was around my mama, right? Mm-hmm. That was it. But now my son can emulate me, mm-hmm. right? Because I'm here, right? He see me. He said, Dad, I want to change just like yours. I got him one. Why? Because he wants to emulate me. But if you don't have anything to emulate, then I can't correct that bad behavior, because my son is just as absent-minded and flighty in the head as I was when I was his age. But I didn't have a man that told me, hey, I'm finna touch your life, boy. You better get it together. And then he gets it together. You know what I'm saying? Now my son is going to school, selling snacks, coming home $70 a day. I wish I had somebody to tell me to go do that. But I didn't. So there is truth to it. But even to Devin's point, there is truth to the fact that no, not all kids are going to come up the same. But the problem with that is, in a man, is they always trying to raise their son the way they was raised. Mm-hmm. I almost got out this chair. And that's the problem, right? Because whatever generation, whatever master passed down to Pawpaw and them, because they was beating them. That's all they knew. And so they beat them in the correction, so they gonna beat their kids. Well, you can't do that. You can't. Everything ain't gonna work the same. My youngest son I'm not gonna raise him like I'm raising my older boy, because they have two different personalities. And so it's a lot of dynamics in all of this, y'all.
Yes, it is.
And that's the reason why I won't disagree with anybody's experience, because I won't invalidate you. But we have to take it all and then come to a consensus about, well, if we're gonna dissect anything, well, then we got to open it up and find out what the experience was, we have to observe these relationships, and I don't think we're doing that. So that's why I don't really like generalizing anything, because it's too complicated to do that. I can just tell you my truth, and then if you hear something that say, oh, that makes sense, well, then take it with you.
Very good points. Anybody want to add anything? Come on, Jen. Okay, no, I'm sorry.
No, go ahead, Jen.
Okay, well, I'm a mother of 3 boys, mm-hmm. and my husband is here, mm-hmm. but I'm the disciplinarian. My youngest 2 are the 2 that I share with him. But again, to your point, all 3 are absolutely different. Good boys, and I'm not just saying that because they're mine. My oldest is going to be 25 in September. He's making his way, didn't mm-hmm. listen to me 100% of the time, but he's never been in any trouble. Right. I've got 2 honor students here now, 16 and 17. Couldn't be more proud of them. They're like night and day. One is very masculine and the other is not so much. And my husband is here. So we have, for the most part, raised them primarily. They've been always in the same house. They're just two different people and personalities, and that's just the gist of it. We didn't do anything more for one than we did for the other. Their personalities came into play. And I don't think there was anything that we did to either make one feel less or more accepted. And that is our struggle now, to make sure that nobody feels, as if they can't be their true authentic selves.
Right.
Sometimes, I'm not saying people are born one way or another. My job is to love them and nurture them and make them feel safe.
Question though, as a disciplinarian, do you think that emasculated your husband?
No, because he didn't want anything to do with it. Matter of fact, I believe in, whooping them up. That's my belief, especially with my oldest one. Now, what I found was that child is a little different. You could tell him 100 times no, and he would still do it. These last two are more academia kids. I could sit them down, explain to them what the issue is, because they're new age kids. Like I said, they're 16 and 17, and they would pretty much take that at law and just do what I ask. Because I think in the end, most children want to please their parents, whatever that looks like, from one way or another. But I didn't have to. But even my husband's like, you don't have to raise your voice at him. And his father was a sharecropper, and he has two other brothers, so they were not spared the rod. You know what I'm saying? So
I got you.
Yeah, it's just a totally different thing now. But that's all I got.
Okay, Tasha, what do you have to say?
I just have, I have an opinion, but I have a quick poll I need to take. Kenny, I know that you have one brother.
Yes.
You have one, and it was just you were raised with a single mother.
Yeah.
Okay. Brenton, did you have any brothers?
No.
No brothers. Okay. I'm going to say this, and this is coming from someone who doesn't have any children, never will have any children, because I'm not dealing with no hellions. I know me. I know how I am, and God would not want to visit that evil upon me. I know that. I'm going to say it like this. I think the reason why we're seeing so many feminine men now is because of the quality of parenting has shifted so differently from what our grandmothers, great grandmothers were able to do. Black, you were raised by a single mother. Now, granted, you had brothers.
5 brothers.
Kenny, you were raised by a single mother, but yet you have brothers. My dad was raised by a single mother, and it's a beautiful thing that all of y'all appear to be very masculine. So I look at, because parents now are taking into consideration the generational trauma, the generational curses, and wanting to break that, but maybe some of that is necessary. Maybe your grandmother wasn't all the way wrong. Maybe your great grandmother wasn't all the way wrong. So.
Can I want to say 2 words.
Sure.
I want to use the word threatened, and I want to use the word normalized.
Okay.
The first word, threatened, is and I'm saying this, in my opinion, culturally, we are threatened by other people's way of doing things. And we are so stubborn at times that we don't want to hear what somebody else is saying and be like, oh, I ain't gonna work for me. Why? Try it, dummy, and just see if it works. We don't hear each other sometimes. Like, I'm hearing from everybody. I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, I'm hearing you. Hopefully somebody's hearing from me and be like, oh, okay. But we so threatened by each other, right? Again, what are we comparing ourselves to? Who knows? I don't know. But that's the problem. That's threatening. Number 2, normalize. To Tasha's point, we are normalizing these behaviors. Why? Because everybody has found out that everybody really are more alike than we are different. These kids now that we coming up with, they don't know nothing about no racism. They don't know nothing about no calling each other out there. What y'all talking about? They've accepted each other, and they found out that they all have something in common. But now we're normalizing things that when we were growing up, it was about gender roles, and there was no internet, so we were learning from things passed down to us from generation to generation and tradition. That's our problem, to just in a few words. So I think we should do better in both of those areas.
Okay.
Normalizing relationships in your own home, and don't feel threatened by what somebody is saying works for them in their home.
Okay.
Just try
Very,
it.
very good point. Kenny, do you want to add anything to this?
The only thing I would like to add is I think in this particular son relationships, I think we all didn't even mention the mama's boy stereotype that is known in our community.
Okay.
And a lot of black women have said, you hear all the time, I don't want no mama's boy, because handle business, or they cater to, or I ain't your mama. So I think that has definitely contributed to the emasculation of black men sometimes, especially if you were raised by your mother and you hear this, you're like, yeah, I was raised by a single woman. I ain't mama's boy. Yeah, I am a mama's boy, but I'm still a man too.
Okay.
So I think that can be a tricky one too. Contributed to the emasculation of black men.
It's definitely tricky, and I love all of the various opinions. And Brother Brenton, I like your two words, but for two completely different reasons. Two completely different reasons. I like normalize and threaten. I don't think we threaten them enough, in my personal opinion.
Bingo.
And I'm being so serious. I'm being so serious. I think because we have taken discipline out of homes, we've taken God out of homes, we've taken normal traditional values out of homes, because in these new age homes, they're not even teaching them the value of work, of just hard work, or physical work. And so I don't think we threaten them enough. Kids don't fear parents anymore. And I think that has made a major difference, in society right there. So with that said, the second one, we've normalized behavior that, in my opinion, should have been curtailed. I wasn't raised with a dad, 5 brothers. And you know what was normalized in my household? Little boys don't play with dolls. Now, you can call me homophobic and toxic masculine and whatever else you want to say, And in case anybody was wondering, out of all of our brothers, one of my brothers was bisexual. He liked a little dick on the side. And we all grew up in the same household. Now, having said that, I think I turned out pretty good and whatnot, but it was normalized behavior that he had to keep hidden. And I hate that we lost those days, because I do think we lost something when we stopped defining roles. I'm okay with defining roles. Now, full disclosure, I got a son, and I think I'm a pretty masculine guy. In fact, I'm a hoe. I hunted them hoes down with reckless abandon. And my son likes to suck a little dick. Now, whose fault is that? Now, whose fault is that? That normalization was done by the mom. Love her to death, love my son to death. But he was told that that's okay, it's normal. And I still love him, and here we are. And I'ma still love him. Now, we can't drink out the same glass, but okay.
But Black, again, you talking about.
I'm so serious.
No, I know you are, and I'm saying this though. But we talk about this moment. I don't want you guys to lose focus about what we have learned as Black people from being here. We learned it from our white counterparts. That the way. Now, I'm not saying it's all universal, but normally you're gonna find parents who get talked crazy to. It come from them, not from us. Them.
I see your point in some of that. And of course, if we want to really get historical, and trace things back to slavery, I get that. But I'm not going to blame a lot of the cultural norms that we see now on the white dynamic. I think that we, as a culture, Black people specifically, and Black moms, we have normalized behavior because it takes away from. I don't think, to Tasha's point, I don't think a lot of them want to be parents. Now, Devin made a brilliant point. So when I raised this, I'm trying to balance whose fault is it? Is it the punk ass dudes that are not in their children's lives because she mentioned is how difficult it is for a woman to raise a man? Or is it the mother who maybe is overcompensating in many cases, you know, or not, you know, instilling those principles in him? I live with this pain every day. Every day of my life, I live with this pain that how much more of a role should I have played? You know? Now, I'm not Dwayne Wade. I don't have that enlightened view. I don't want my son wearing dresses, and I don't want him bringing home some dude, some musty ass dude, and they gripped up there. You can't do it in my house. So I'm not enlightened like that. I'm sorry. Devin, go ahead.
Can I say something about that? And this is just my opinion. First of all, as far as the white and black dynamic, I lately have had a lot of experience in white household and white dynamics, and I can say that black people raise their children nothing like white people.
That's right.
And the upbringing and the dynamic as far as a white household versus a black household is nothing like white people. And I've seen men emasculated more by their white partners, spouses, than black women would ever. I want to say that first of all. But the thing about the homosexuality and women like normalizing that, this is what I think, and this is just my opinion. And I'm gonna go back to like the 80s, early 90s, and like the AIDS epidemic. I think it was frowned upon to be a man and be feminine back in the day.
True.
So no matter who you were, you made sure you didn't hold your hand a certain way.
True.
You didn't switch your hips a certain way. You didn't act a certain way, but you were still bending over and popping it with the best of them when nobody was looking, because there was all of this shame attached to being who you were and doing what you were truly attracted to. And I also think that was one of the reasons why, and one of the reasons we still, I see it every day in my job, why a lot of black women have one of the highest rates of HIV and AIDS in this world. And they can say it don't have nothing to do with homosexuality and all that, but I think that it does, because I don't know a lot of people black shooting up meth and heroin. Let's just be honest. I don't know a lot of black folks shooting up drugs. I know they can, but I don't know a lot of I know a lot of crackheads.
Right.
Got some crackhead relatives, but I don't know a lot of black folks that are injecting.
And so you bled right into my next category.
But I think that now women and people have allowed men to, okay, you're gay, yeah. But if you switch a little bit, it's almost praise.
That's the question.
It's almost
that's the question.
They're fun to be around, and it's just like, you know, be yourself.
So Devin, I'm gonna ask you directly.
Feminine men, but I think the same amount of men are gay, just they not hiding behind the dumpster anymore.
So Devin, I'm gonna ask you a direct question. Do you think black women in particular are responsible? Because when we look at these changed views of sexuality and their acceptance of it, do you think that plays a role in the emasculation of black men?
Absolutely the hell not. Because I also know that most black women still, like when they're, because I have one boy and two girls, and it was always, those are your sister's dolls or girl toys, and you play with the trucks and you go play football and different things like that. So I don't think that was something that black women have ever instilled, and we've never promoted femininity. And my son, when I was divorced, one of the first things he said to me, so mama, I'm the man of the house now, what all do I have to do? So even with me raising him by myself, he still knew what societal norms are. I think that men are more comfortable being more feminine and acting this way. I think because society has normalized this, and they have learned that to judge them for this is wrong. And then as a mother, because transparency, I have a homosexual daughter, actually. So when she first told me this, and she's a woman, but still, I was like, you got to give me a minute to process this. You can't tell me you like girls at 10:01 and expect me to be normal by 10:04. You got to give me some mother effing time to figure this out, because I wasn't normalized that way. I was raised thinking it was an abomination to be gay. You see what I'm saying? But then after a while, as a mother, and almost pretty much to me as any parent, you have to step back and say, do I love my child more than I hate their choice? Or hate, not their choice, hate who they are. Because I'm going to say it's who they are.
Okay.
And then you realize I'd rather have a relationship. I don't have a gay son, as far as I know. I'd rather have a relationship and a closeness to my child than to ostracize them for who they are. And that may look like the woman is normalizing and accepting and telling them it's okay. We're not saying it's okay. We're saying regardless to who you are, I still love you because you are my child.
Love, you expressed it beautifully. Anybody else want to comment on this? How the changed views of sexuality and the role that it plays? And do you feel that Black women have played a role in normalizing this and emasculating men?
See, this is the thing. It's not the origin. The Black women is not the origin. This type of behavior comes from almost the beginning of time. So it's not the Black women that I know we're speaking because it's relative to who we are. We're Black, but it's the accepting of the society of that this generation. Like this, it's a mosh pot now. So we have all these ideologies coming together, and again, there is not one behavior. Y'all can call me a liar, y'all want me to. Is not one behavior that you have not learned from somebody. You saw it. You saw something. I saw something when I was younger, and then I who in here? Oh, okay.
So with that statement, Sister Devin says that she considers somebody homosexual. That's who they are. So do you think that's who they are, or they learned this behavior?
I think that's who they are.
That's what I'm saying.
I don't think anyone wants to walk through society, especially in the Black community, with that hat on, because I don't care what nobody says. We are the most judgmental people when it comes to homosexuality, and we will say even my mother told my child, "I love you so much, but I'm just sad that you're not going to heaven when you die because I want to see you there." And I said, "Well, why the hell would God take you?" Never mind. I just think we are so judgmental, and we try to, and as far as in the Black community. So I don't think anyone wants to wear that hat. I think people suppress it, they hide, they make bad choices, and some of them end up depressed and suicidal, and men are sleeping with women or lying and saying they celibate to marriage and stuff like that. I just really think that's who they are, but they hide it. I think it's a hormonal thing because I'm
now, Brenton, you didn't answer. You agree?
No, I'm going to. So this is what I do know. I won't deny that there may be some biological things in some people, but it ain't in everybody. I think here's my point. If the ones that are biologically that way, then the ones who around them learn to be that way. So everybody ain't like that. Okay. So I will say that, yes, there may be some biological differences in some people. Again, you have people who physically have two organs down there. Well, I know it's uncut, but I'm gonna keep it right there. Right. So that I won't deny truth, but I will say
and I don't want to go down that rabbit hole. I was just curious because of the comment that said, because we definitely could go down that rabbit hole. But I want to kind of get back to this part about the changed views on sexuality. Anybody want to add anything to this?
I would. Oh, go ahead, Jenny.
Oh, well, I was just gonna say I agree with Devin. I too. I have 4 children, 3 boys, 1 girl. I was just, my daughter is also, was straddling the fence. She'll be 22 here in a couple of weeks. And I mean, there was nothing at all that I showed her because that was my baby girl. I really coddled her. And when she came to me and said, "Well, Mom, this is what I've decided," I wasn't the first or the last to know, but I didn't see it coming. I just let her know this isn't the decision and choice I make for you. Just like, my son didn't come to me and say, "Well, Mom, this is what I want." And what I did say to him when I realized it, I said, "Well, why didn't you come to me and say something?" And his response was, "Well, do straight people come and tell you that they're straight?" And I just had to I still haven't gotten a response for that. But I do know that that's not something that I normalized here in my home. And it's not something that my husband normalized here. And, but I do at least acknowledge it, whereas my husband kind of acts like the elephant's not here, which is not, to me, healthy. And so that I just wanted to go on and agree with Devin and her stance on it. And that's it.
I love it. Tasha.
If we're speaking about generations, yes, the new Black women, whether or not we want to admit it, they have changed the views of sexuality. It's encouraged now to be your authentic self. It's pushed upon at such young ages to where if you won't let them even operate a motor vehicle, why would you let them make such a life altering decision? Because you can't tell me that a 2-year-old understands the difference. They don't even know the difference between their right and left foot a lot of times. But to sit here and and again, Black people we know we're not a monolith. Not a monolith. There are differences, all throughout. But it's also been visited upon a lot of the men as well in conversations, in situations. If a man says he doesn't like certain behaviors in women, oh well, then you don't like pussy. It's constantly being pushed in that way. Well, you don't like pussy. Stop pushing the gay agenda on certain people because they may not agree with certain behaviors that certain women are exhibiting. So we can act like it, but specifically for this generation, absolutely. Black women have changed the view of sexuality, and it is leading to the emasculation of Black men.
In the interest of time, because again, we are almost an hour and a half over, and it definitely tells me that we probably need a part 2 to this, because it's run so deep, and I'll just say this, I had a few more topics that I could have gone to, just so you guys know, and this is why I know we need, more time, because we didn't even get to about how the family dynamic has evolved. We didn't get to the big one where we talked about the role that the church plays, in these matters. Devin, you touched on societal norms, and I saved the best one for last. I thought the accountability of the Black man himself, and what role that we play in the emasculation of our own selves, Black men. So I know we could go a lot further. In the interest of time, this was a fantastic conversation.
Absolutely.
I appreciate you guys so much. And I don't want to go down that rabbit hole because Devin, I love you. I disagree. I couldn't disagree with you more. Yeah. And I have my own reason. And that's why I'm not even going down there. But I appreciate you guys so much, because what I will say as we wrap up, and I want to give you guys a chance to say your last say on this. This is important, and we don't talk about this enough. And the fact that we were able to get so many different people in a virtual room from different perspectives and to be able to articulate it with no fear, that to me is the most beautiful thing in the world. So whether we agree on these things or not, one thing we can agree on, if we're parents, we still love our kids. You know what I'm saying? As the Black family unit, we want to see us work together. I started this show, the very first episode, I said men are from Mars, women from Venus. Well, damn it, we all trying to meet here on Earth and get along, And so at the end of the day, I love that we can take something so complicated that there are no clear answers to it and be able to chop it up, split it up. And I hope that people, as they watch this, they take something from it. We're flawed individuals. We got our own opinions, but I love that you guys represented yourselves so well, and it just was brilliant. So I'll let you guys kind of go around. Any last words you want to say on this topic? Brother Antoine, thank you, my brother. I definitely think this has to have a part 2. So we will plan that. I'm going on vacation next Friday, and I come back. We need to have a part 2 to examine the other aspects of it. So, I'll start with Jenny. What do you want to say as we close out, sweetheart, on this topic?
Well, thank you for having me on, y'all. I know it's been a while. I've been on hiatus. I haven't even had an opportunity to watch, but I've been peeping in and watching on the back end. So thank you all for just being polite and allowing me to even just share my thoughts. A lot of the emasculation, I believe, of men starts so much further back than just who they choose as a mate. Some of it goes back to who their mothers were in the time that they were raised, or the women before them. And again, I don't think that a woman can primarily raise a man. You know, she can make some deposits, but it's a whole lot of other things that goes along with it. And again, I can speak to being a mother. We just love our children. That's, you know, we have our opinions like everybody else, but at the end of the day, we just love our children. So, and that's all we know to do.
I love it.
All right.
Brother Kenny, what do you have to say as we close out?
You know, I was just sitting back, man, so like a sponge. I was just soaking all these different opinions, which, you know, everyone, we're so different because of our backgrounds and environment. But I do say this show was definitely needed. I think we need more conversations with Black men and Black women in a panel like this, and trying to come to a place where we understand one another. We may not have all the answers, but as long as we communicating and figure this out together, I mean, you know, the world is ours. You know, we're not the enemy. We're not your enemy, Black women. We're not, the Black man is not your enemy. And so I want that to be known first and foremost. But man, we got to do a part 2 on this show for sure.
Yes, sir. Sister Devin.
I do believe that Black men are not our enemies, although Black women have been scorned so much by so many Black men. And so it's kind of hard. If I'm being honest, it's kind of hard to get away from that. And, you know, nobody, you know, really to doctor up them bullet wounds and stab wounds over the many years. So it's hard to get out of that thought process, because for so many of us, like myself, you started getting those bullet wounds and daggers as a child, as young as you can remember, from even your father and people like that. But anyway, I think that the norm in this society is for black women have always been held accountable and felt responsible for always uplifting our Black men and making them feel strong and powerful and all these other things. And I think that in 2022, we need to start working on taking that accountability away from Black women and putting it back on Black men. First of all, asking yourself, why do you feel emasculated? You know what I'm saying? What's going on in your life to make you feel that way? And then digging into how someone could threaten your manhood like that. And maybe we need to look into some counseling or some mental health stuff or things like that. But I would love for you to start taking accountability for your own masculinity and not allowing someone to take that away from you. And if you was some dirty ass bitch, I'm gonna say that because that's who she would be, that makes you feel emasculated on a regular basis and makes you feel less than and down, then you need to tell that bitch to kick rocks, or you need to kick rocks and go find someone who knows your worth and that uplifts you and makes you feel the way you should feel in your day-to-day walk of life.
Bravo. Bravo. Brother Brenton.
Lee Black, you the man, brother. I appreciate you, man. You're doing the hard work. You're doing the hard work. Ladies, gentlemen, thank you guys for allowing me to share with you all. I want to leave us with this. Don't stop fighting, but fight for what's good. But even more than that, fight for what's good for your family. And what I mean by that is fight for good health, fight for good perspectives, fight for good, decisions. But most importantly, fight for good self-perception. If you don't do that, then nothing you're doing in life is going to matter. Nothing.
I love it. I love it. Sister Tasha.
Yeah, this was a good topic, you know, and I'm sad that we didn't get through more of the bullet points. You know, like as you say on the show, you know, we can agree to disagree on a lot of things without being disagreeable. You know, I love the fact that we are able to, you know, give all of the opposing views and just come to a common, you know, a commonality that, you know, that's, you know, you're going to live your life. I'm going to live my life. And that's it, and just make it to the end. But, you know, I love the show. We definitely have to have a part 2. And, you know, it's not always going to be a war out there. One day we all going to get it together.
I love that. And I'll piggyback on the tail end of that. You know, I'm so proud of the fact that we were able to live up to the motto of the show, which I've stated many times. Let's agree to disagree without being disagreeable, and keep it real. And for me, that's when I respect conversation most. We've covered a lot of ground. True education is recognizing just how much you don't know. So education is not a weapon. There's so much more we can learn and learn from each other. And I want to say that TFG says, great show. Thank you so much. And definitely we appreciate the support, no doubt about it. With that said, of course, as I close out, you can find us right on TFG TV. Before I get to that, I want my Black women to know something out there. Look, I'm a Neanderthal. I'm the epitome of a toxic male. I'm all those things. One thing I hope you don't question, I love Black women more than any other woman on the face of this planet. So while I like a little bitch in a hoe every now and then, I do like good Black women too. I love good Black women. I just happen to like hoes and bitches too. But I think a lot of you Black women are everything I'm looking for. The brightest, most successful, beautiful women on this fucking planet. I admire everything about a Black woman. I make decisions in my life based on Black women. I chose to live in the South because I wanted to be in an area where I liked the femininity and the power of Black women. As I make my next move, I can't live if I can't see Black women. That's how much I admire you guys. That's how much I love you. And I don't want you to change anything about who you are. I love that Black women are opinionated. They're raw. They're real. They're independent. That's what I'm attracted to. I just want to get back to a little bit of the old-fashioned values. Let's pour some of that in there. Bring a little bit of integrity back into the place, a little bit of tradition. So before we start calling ourselves queens and kings, but we talk about Black women here, I just want to bring some of those things back. But with that said, make no mistake about it. I respect and love you more than you will ever know. So some of my words might be harsh, but charge that to my head, not to my heart, please. So I'll end it there. And as always, I want the velvet voice of Mr. Kenny to tell us where you can find not only this show, but any show on the TFG platform. Because I can't say it like he can. If you don't mind, Brother Kenny, take us away.
You didn't put me on the spot, brother, but you here. Real Talk for Real Men on Wednesdays and Sundays. Wednesdays at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 5 p.m. Central on Sundays. And then on Wednesdays at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time, 8 p.m. Eastern. You're going to have some serious conversation on Wednesdays like we had tonight. Now on Thursdays, you can find Forgive Us Later on their own channel. The fellas, DJ Sullivan, Charles Moore, and Lamar Falk. You can catch them tomorrow night at 7:30 p.m. on Forgive Us Later on YouTube. Make sure you check them out. They're talking about the latest trending topics in the media, sports, and politics. Then on Fridays and Sundays, you can catch the Black Robin Leach. I call him Lamar Falk, the Real Estate Insider. He goes live at 8 p.m. on Fridays, and he goes live on Sundays at 7 p.m. Going through celebrity homes, those that have been bought, those that have been foreclosed on. So you can check all that on Fridays and Sundays. Also on Sundays, you can catch TFG Late Night with Sullivan, Dwayne Martin, and Rosanda Mitchell. They're going to be doing their thing, talking about the trendy topics, politics, entertainment, sports, and what at 8 p.m. on TFG Late, or that's like TFG Tonight on their YouTube. That guy you see up there, that guy that's leaning his head a certain way, TFG Tonight, the host, Brenton Haynes. You can find him and myself and that beautiful lady down there, Divine, and that brother that liked the holes and the bees over there, Lee Black. You can catch us at 8 p.m. Central Standard Time. See you tonight with the host, Brenton Haynes. And then last but certainly not least, you can catch your boy, the sports guy, Kendrick Henderson, on TFG Sports Show on Tuesday nights at 6:30 p.m. where I'm giving you sports straight with no chaser. So there you have it. We can always check us out on TFG TV.
Yes, sir.
Bravo.
Voice. Yes.
Bravo. That now you understand.
Yeah.
Thank you guys for hanging around with us a little bit longer than normal and spending some time with us on a Wednesday. I want everybody out there to enjoy the rest of your week. Take care of your families, take care of yourselves. And as you talk about the content you see on TFG TV, keep it real and be good to each other. Everybody enjoy the rest of your week. God bless.